to the interface on your mobile device. Again, go down to the bottom there where you see 3 dots, and then that'll take you to the Q&A button that you see there. And again, you can enter your questions at any time. We're going to save the questions until the end, but throughout the presentation, if something occurs to you, feel free to pose a question, and then we'll come to them at the end of the presentation. So next slide, please, Ms. Aya. So first, let me tell you a little bit about the university. It's a young university that makes it quite dynamic, and it's part of the Qatar Foundation, which is located in a geographical area within Doha called Education City. So it's a remarkable university and a remarkable ecosystem of research and teaching, which I'll come to in a moment. But the university itself, Hamad bin Khalifa, was founded in 2010. So we're in our 10th, moving into our 11th year, and of course named after His Highness the Father Emir. As I mentioned, we're located in Education City. So Qatar Foundation is the umbrella organization, the mothership for HBKU, Hamad bin Khalifa University, as well as the partner universities that are part of Education City. So we are a research-intensive university. We're a graduate school. We only have graduate programs. That you'll hear about our master's program, the MPP, but we coexist or are side by side with leading international universities that are part of Education City. And so we have Georgetown University, which is right next door, Northwestern, Carnegie Mellon, Texas A&M, and others. And what is remarkable about that ecosystem, of course, is that students that come to Hamad bin Khalifa University can take advantage of the resources, the presentations, the speakers that come from all around the world to all of these other universities. So attending HBKU is a stepping stone or a window into a range of resources that are available through Education City and the Qatar Foundation that I think are unique globally. I can't think of very many or any institutions that have this kind of ecosystem of research and international universities literally next to each other and within a confined space. So it's a very exciting, it's a very stimulating atmosphere, despite, of course, all of the difficulties that we're all currently facing around the world with the pandemic. Our next slide, please. This gives you a flavor for the university. As I've already mentioned, it was established 10 years ago. There are 6 colleges, a number of research institutes and centers. I'll just focus on the colleges for the moment. The College of Public Policy, of course, is the one that we're presenting the information about today. But our sister colleges consist of the College of Islamic Studies, the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, the College of Science and Engineering, the College of Law, and the College of Health and Life Sciences. Again, even though we're a small and new university, the 6 colleges are working hard to interact and connect with each other, and again, make the resources, the teaching, the faculty, the research that goes on in one or another college available and accessible to students in other colleges. So we're building relationships among the colleges and trying to provide a platform where students in our college can explore and have the advantage of the exposure of students and faculty and other activities in other colleges. As I've already mentioned, but I'll underscore again, we're a graduate school, a graduate university, and the focus and the emphasis is definitely on the research component. In our college, for reasons that I'll explore in a moment, we couple that emphasis on research with, of course, practical advice and work in the policy world. So that's an added feature of the College of Public Policy in our master's program. Next slide, please. What about the college? The college is the newest of the 6 colleges, our college, the College of Public Policy. It was established in July of 2019. So it's a new university, but we're the newest of this new university, the newest college. But it's the public policy has been in the DNA of HBKU much longer. It's been an aspect of programs in the College of Islamic Studies, obviously in humanities and social sciences. The research institutes that are part of HBKU are not just doing abstract research. They in areas like the environment or in biological research or artificial intelligence. They're doing research which they hope to have an impact on the world and a benefit to Qatar and a contribution to the country. So policy has always been part of the HBKU experience, but it was decided about two and a half years ago to consolidate that emphasis on policy in a separate standalone college. So we're the newest college, we're building our program, but I'm happy to say that, again, despite the complications and challenges of COVID and the pandemic, we've done very well indeed in terms of attracting students and attracting top-ranked, internationally renowned faculty, two of whom you will meet this evening. So it's kind of a fun place, a little crazy sometimes because we are a startup and we're building as we grow. But it's been an exciting adventure, and I'm very, very pleased and very satisfied with the trajectory that we've taken since July 2019. Our vision as a college and our vision with respect to the MPP, you'll hear more about this from Dr. Özkan, is to emphasize the link between global policymaking and global policymaking systems and institutions and global issues and how they connect to domestic policymaking. Qatar is a unique environment as a country, as a policy maker in terms of its development domestically and in terms of the kinds of contributions it wants to make internationally and globally. So our college is situated perfectly in terms of the kind of teaching it does with respect to that linkage between the international, which is very, very important for a country as small as Qatar, but with a huge footprint globally because of its trading activities and its attempts to contribute to international dialogue and debate around a host of issues. So that is a vision that we're pursuing in the college, and it's reflected in our courses and our teaching and our research. Next slide, please. I've already talked about the newness, our contributions. It's exciting. We're recruiting international faculty. I've said all of this stuff already, so I anticipated this slide. If we can move to the next slide, please. In terms of partners and engagement, a college of public policy like ours is not an island. It cannot be an island. It has to have connections, and that stimulates and enriches what we do. So this is a sample of the kinds of international connections and partnerships that we're developing. The International Public Policy Association, I happen to be the vice president of the IPPA. It's the leading international scholarly association of researchers and academics in the public policy field. The ACSH is the Astana Civil Service Hub, which of course is based in Kazakhstan, but it's a regional hub in the Central Asian region with partnerships with the UNDP and the OECD and various development banks. Addressing issues in public policy and public administration, and we're pleased and honored to have an MOU and a partnership with them. The state of Qatar, of course, we have ongoing interactions with various ministries, particularly the Ministry of Planning and Statistics. It's responsible for overseeing the Qatar National Development Strategy. The Qatar Faculty's Financial Center Regulatory Authority is exactly what it says. It's the regulatory instrument for the financial center here in Qatar that manages international financial relations among different companies and actors in the private sector here. We have an MOU with them to facilitate internships and research projects in the financial sector, but not exclusive to the financial sector. We've done work with the Brookings Doha Institute. We co-sponsored at least one, and we're working on other panels. The one that we did some time ago was on governance in the MENA region, and we continue to work with them. They're a think tank. RANEPA is the Russian Academy of National Economy and Public Administration, based in Moscow, but it's literally the largest university in Europe. It has branches throughout Russia. And we have an MOU with them as well for student exchanges and cooperation among graduate programs. And we hosted co-hosted an event last fall with RENEPA. And we're hoping, again, once we get past the COVID situation, that we can enrich and build on that relationship with our Russian partner. The University of Maryland is the newest MOU that we signed, MOU, of course, being a memorandum of understanding for cooperation in terms of teaching and research. And with the University of Maryland, especially their School of Public Policy, we are hoping to develop joint courses and teaching and eventually building toward the possibility of some joint programming with them. So that gives you a taste of the international partnerships that we're developing, even though, again, the college has only been here for less than 2 years. So I'm very pleased with these, and we're building and continuing to expand on these partnerships as we move forward. Next slide, please. This is a snapshots of our faculty. Again, we're a small team. Dr. Andreas Reckhammer is a professor in the college with a specialization on global policymaking and SDGs, among many other things, but those are probably the ones that come top to mind. Dr. Özkan Öztürk, who you'll hear from in a moment, as our economist and teaches our courses in microeconomics and applied economics, as well as methods, and has a variety of interests in international trade and food security. Dr. Anis Ben Brick is a colleague whose specialization areas include social policy and family issues. And he is also the director of one of our major research programs in the college with the acronym PROSPER, the Program on Social Policy and Evaluation Research. That's another one of his areas of expertise, is program evaluation. Dr. Logan Cochran, who again you'll hear from briefly today, joined us very recently, and his areas of expertise are almost too numerous to mention, but again, I think the high points deal with food security issues and global development and Africa, and program evaluation as well, and global political economy. Two colleagues who've not yet physically joined us, but which are teaching for us, and one of them, Dr. Darrow, will be joining us this month, and Dr. Kim, I hope very shortly or soon after. Dr. Kim Maloney is coming to us from Australia, but she's an American scholar with an expertise in transnational public administration and has done work on the World Bank. Dr. Jarvis is coming to us from Education University in Hong Kong, and his areas of expertise include policymaking, generally policy cycle issues, but he's also an expert on education policy. So that's our team, but as I mentioned, we also can draw on adjunct professors from different colleges within the university, and we have had very good relations with the College of Islamic Studies in particular, and the College of Humanities and Social Sciences in terms of the interaction with faculty. So we have the capacity to leverage our relatively small size through our partnerships, the one I mentioned with the University of Maryland just being one of them, but also our location within HBKU and within the larger ecosystem of Education City. And I think I can now turn the floor over to Dr. Özkan, who can tell you more specifically about the Masters of Public Policy program. And I believe after him, he will turn the floor over to Dr. Logan, who will talk about one of the key features, distinctive features of our MPP, the Capstone Project. Dr. Özkan?
Hi, Dr. Leslie, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Özkan Öztürk. I am an assistant professor of economics in the College of Public Policy at HBKU. Maybe a little about my teaching and research interests. So I teach two courses. I teach economics for public policy and research methods for public policy. My research interests include international trade, as Dr. Leslie said, international trade, energy economics, food security, microfinance, which are under economic development. I usually do, generally do quantitative analysis in these areas. So if you are interested in one of these areas, we will be working together, hopefully. So, Dr. Leslie, should I continue on, or should I give the floor to Dr. Logan to introduce himself? Maybe I could continue, and then Dr. Logan will.
I would say continue, and then Dr. Logan can introduce himself, and then talk about the capstone. That'd be great.
Okay, great. So the Master of Public. So currently we have one program, which is the Master of Public Policy. Hopefully, we will be offering additional programs in the near future. But the Master of Public Policy program is a two-year, full-time 2-year degree. It's taught in English. The program offers world-class academic and professional training in public policy analysis, design, implementation, evaluation, and management. One of the distinctive features of the program is a combination of interdisciplinarity, strong ethical foundation, entrepreneurship in public management, and innovation in public policy and design. So our students enroll in the program in the first year. They develop a solid core of theoretical knowledge in their first year, and in the second year, they'll have the opportunity to specialize in one of two areas, either in social policy, which includes family, health, education policies, or in energy and environmental policy. And then also the specializations are supported by advanced seminars in, again, one of the selected area, and labs. And in the last term, students develop, do a capstone project. So I'll be giving more details about the capstone project in the next slide, and Dr. Logan will be giving more details about this. So our graduates are mostly suited to the senior roles in government ministries or in multinational corporations in Qatar and in the world. Next slide, please. The program consists of 39 credit hours. They are taught over 2 years and in English. In the first year, so students take 24 credits, which is eight courses, core courses. In the second year, we encourage our students to specialize in one of the two areas, either in social policy or energy and environmental policy. So along with the advanced seminar in the selected area, students also take lab and one elective in the second year, and in the last term they take capstone. They develop a capstone project. The capstone project is very unique feature of our program, where the students working in a small group and under a supervision of a faculty member, and working with a client organization, they work on a real world issue and try to come up with solution to that issue. Currently, we have 3 capstone projects going on, and Dr. Logan will be talking about them shortly. These are the following areas are the courses and some of the areas that students can specialize: energy and environmental policy, comparative public policy, social policy, ethics, law and public policy, economics for public policy, global political economy, public management, and research methods, actually. Next slide, please. So before we move on, maybe I can also give some statistics about our current students. So currently we have 37 students enrolled in the program, and 10 of them are in their last year, and they are senior students, and then 17 students are in their first year. So we have quite a diverse body of students. We have students from Africa, we have students from Middle East, we have students from GCC countries, South Asia, Central Asian countries. So it's quite diverse, and we have students coming from different academic background. We have students coming from economics, social, political science, even in engineering, and we have even nurses. So total of 37 students, and we are hoping to get 15 to 20 students this year, hopefully. So next slide, please. So this is my contact information. Please, if you have any questions, you can ask now, or you can send me or Ms. Amal an email anytime you want. We'll be happy to answer your questions. So with this, I'll conclude here and give the floor to Dr. Logan. He will be giving more information about ongoing capstone projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. One of the questions you might have is, why would I join a public policy program, particularly if you are not coming from this background? Maybe you're coming from a different space, could be engineering, could be nursing, as Dr. Özkan mentioned. So let me entice you into joining this program by giving you some ideas about the value of a public policy degree. And in this case, what we would like our graduates to do is not just gain that theoretical knowledge, but be able to learn about policymaking processes, policy implementation, policy evaluation, what kind of evidence would be needed, and interdisciplinary perspectives looking at different policy questions, and then use all of that knowledge to apply it in the real world. So in order to give you that experience so that you walk away being able to do that task, either to inform decision makers about a policy or to make a policy yourself, is we have a capstone project that works with a partner, and these partners are quite diverse and will change each year based on student interest and based on opportunities that exist, to give you an opportunity to work with a partner organization that is working either on an evaluation of a policy or the development of a policy, or looking for evidence to support its decision-making processes. And these partners range from domestic government organizations, for example, the Financial Authority that the Dean mentioned, NGOs such as the ILO dealing with labor issues, Brookings Institute, which is a think tank, new partners that are emerging like Education Above All and Reach Out to Asia, Qatar Foundation, and others, that you will be able to get actual experience working with a partner about how would this actually apply in real life. And that's one of the goals of the second year, to bridge these two areas of your academic and theoretical knowledge with practical and applied experiences. And I think I'll probably leave it there for my pitch and for our description of our capstone projects, but happy to go into additional detail if anyone has any questions. As Dr. Özkan mentioned, these are completed in small groups, approximately 3 to 5 students. And in the beginning of your second year, those groups are established and the partnership is established. In the first semester, some beginnings of that work is undertaken, and the majority of the actual partnership and research work and presentation of that results to the partner occurs in your final semester, after which you defend your work and graduate.
Dr. Logan, maybe you can also talk about your teaching and research interests if you want.
Sure. I come from Canada, where I was previously teaching in a global studies program, and my research interests broadly are the intersection or the nexus between a range of issues, climate, livelihood, food security, and the political nature of all of those questions, how they come together. And I've spent the last 10 or 15 years doing a lot of evaluation of policies and programs and services. So I've taken that lens to looking at policies really at the implementation level. And my research background, as the Dean mentioned, was largely spending time in East Africa, Central Africa, where I lived for about a decade. And I've also taught at a university in Ethiopia since 2015. So I bring a different perspective because of those experiences. And one of the great things about our faculty cohort, in addition to their different disciplinary backgrounds, is their different geographic backgrounds that they bring. And as you interact with all these different classes, you don't only get a vision into the disciplines that their expertises are in, but also the geographic areas that they've lived and worked and researched on. And so that makes this team, although small, a really interesting one to be a part of. And if you join us, you'll get to get a sense of the entire world, which is quite fascinating.
Thank you, Dr. Özkan, Dr. Logan, for those presentations. I think I'll turn the floor now over to Ms. Lana from admissions.
Hi, I can't see the presentation. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Aya. Hi, everybody. My name is Lana. I work in the Office of Enrollment at Hamad bin Khalifa University, and I'm going to speak to you very briefly now about the admission requirements for the college, and then, of course, I'm available if you have any questions at the end. So we'll just start on this slide. So just a little bit about our requirements. First thing is applicants need to have a bachelor's degree with a strong academic record, at least a 3.0 GPA out of 4. The college accepts applicants from all fields. So if you've studied something related, something unrelated, engineering, whatever it is, you're more than welcome to apply to the program. If your studies were in a language other than English, then you do need to provide us with an IELTS or a TOEFL score. And the minimum score that we require for IELTS is 6.5. For TOEFL, it's a 79. If you did study in English, then you would need to provide us with a letter from your university confirming that your studies were in English. Could we go to the next slide, please, Aya? So just a little bit more about what you need to submit with the application. So the online application is available on our website. You do need to submit, once you've completed the application, several documents, the most important being your transcripts, which show a breakdown of all of your grades, as well as a grading scale. If you are applying and have studied at a university where the GPA is out of a scale other than 4, you also need to submit your TOEFL or IELTS score. Or again, if you are exempt, if you've studied in English, then you just provide a letter from your university confirming that. Then you do need to write a personal statement, which explains why you're applying to this program and how you think this program will help contribute to your long-term objectives in life. Then you do need to also submit a passport, and for residents and nationals, a copy of your Qatari ID, and a resume or CV, as well as 2 recommendation letters, which should be sent directly from your referees. If you graduated quite a while ago, you can submit referees from, your referees, could be former employers, colleagues, but the preference always is, of course, to have at least 1 academic reference, if that's possible. The deadline for international applicants has already passed. It was February 1st. If you have not applied and you're an international applicant, then we would strongly encourage you to wait until next year because the application is closed. If you've already applied, we're hoping that we could give you an answer by around April of this year. For Qataris and residents, the deadline is March 15th. That's all I have. Again, I'm available to answer any questions you may have. I'm also gonna, the email is here, but I will also type it in the chat box so that way you can just copy it into your email in case you want to contact us about any questions later. Thank you.
I see that Salman raised a question in the Q&A. I can venture to take that. You come with a investment banking and computer science background, and how would an MPP advance your career? So I'll give you a couple of ideas, but if you had ideas about where you would like to go in the future, that we can speak about it in more detail. But if we think about the financial industry, for example, there are people who are specialists in the financial industry and they study that and they work in the sector. Then there's another realm and another part of people who are working with policy development and decision making who regulate the financial sector. So if we think about here, some discussions that are ongoing in Qatar are relating to what sort of mobile payment mechanisms will be allowed as FIFA is coming. They're looking at these questions from a regulatory perspective. Similarly, looking again at questions about cryptocurrency. These are all regulated by certain policy decisions. And these are the types of things that policymakers, graduates from this program, will be providing evidence on or making decisions on. So in a sense, it's a different type of decision making. You're not doing the economics per se, but you're setting the regulatory environment about what types of in this case, what types of transactions and what type of currencies and so on and so forth. You could also think about the regulations that exist within a country about maintaining financial stability, inflows and outflows of investment, all sorts of things. These laws and regulations and policies are crafted at Ministry of Finance and other entities. And this would be a program that would really give you the skills to develop those policies, but then also the skills to analyze those policies to see if they're working. Are they having the intended outcome that you, the policymaker, hoped that they would have? How would you know that? And if they weren't working, how would you know how to adjust it and make modifications to policies in the future? So that's a quick example about how this course may help you. If you have a follow-up question, feel free.
We have a question from Mohammed. I think it would be best answered by Ms. Lana. Please, I have a BSc in Development Management and I'm awaiting graduation in July, inshallah. So I think the point of the question is for an international applicant, if they're expecting their degree in July. How is that handled, Ms. Lana?
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good question. So we do allow students whose studies are still in progress to apply. The important thing is that you are able to provide us with adequate documentation towards completion. So you would need to provide us with transcripts showing that you are in fact in your final semester of studies. And then we would, obviously be looking forward to receiving those. And then once you have those documents, then you would provide them to us. But it's really important that if your studies are still in progress, that you do show us your last semester of coursework, even though you do not have the grades for them, but that you bring some sort of letter, or usually universities would be able to provide a transcript that shows courses that are in progress. So that shouldn't be an issue, but you would need to make sure that you provide something of that sort. And if you have any doubts about how that should look, you can email the document to us first. And even if you have submitted your application and didn't include that, feel free to just send it to us and we can add it to your file.
So Mohammed is asking a follow-up, I think. Can you see it, Ms. Lana, there? Sorry, I have actually completed it in 2018 and now awaiting graduation to an MSc planning in July and instead can still apply. So I think the point of that question is similar to the last one, I'm assuming, about whether, even though the degree has not yet been awarded, he can still apply.
I don't see the question.
If you scroll in the Q&A panel, it's a different panel than chat. You have to go to the 3 dots at the bottom for more panels. Bottom right.
There, okay. Yeah, I don't see it, but if it would be the same thing if you are currently doing your master's degree. So you would need to, just submit to us what you have available at the time, and then you can always follow up and email us any additional documents that need to be sent using the email that is provided in the chat and also is available on our website. So that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Now the message is showing for me. I don't know why it was delayed. Planning in July. Yeah. So yes, you can still apply. That's not an issue.
Great to see that one of our participants has applied. Look forward to hopefully seeing you.
Yes, I see that from Iman. I've completed my Bachelor in Applied Sociology and I've already applied in CPP.
As we await any other questions, or if you're thinking about any questions that you'd like to ask, maybe I'll mention a recent event that we had where Her Excellency Lola Al Khatir came and gave a talk, and you will be able to view that soon on our website and social media and so forth. But I think a really interesting example where high-level government officials are engaging with the College of Public Policy also gives you, as a participant and a student in this program, to engage with those high-level politicians, ask questions, and so on. It was quite an open conversation that we had, and we hope to continue to develop those things where we don't just have the academic leaders in the field coming and engaging with you through various speaker series, but also these high-level diplomats, politicians, and decision makers not only from the government sector, but also from private sector and the nonprofit sector. So from those, you could think about UN organizations, intergovernmental organizations, and so forth. So we're working hard to make this experience a really rich one for everyone that takes part in it.
Thank you, Dr. Logan. I think we have two more questions that came up. Again, this is a question possibly for Ms. Lano. When you apply to CPP, when should I expect a response as an international student? I think Ms. Lano answered that, hopefully by April, I believe, if I heard you correctly. And then there's a second question. The medium of instruction was in English, and it is mentioned in my transcript. So do I need to send any documents related to language proficiency?
You do not. If it's mentioned on the transcript, if it's mentioned somewhere officially, then you absolutely do not need to send us anything additional. No.
You're welcome. Another question. I've graduated 6 years ago. My professor is retired. However, the professor is willing to send it from his personal email, but with the official letterhead and university stamp. Is that okay? I'm not sure whether that should be, but without the official letterhead and university stamp. Maybe.
I can. Did you want me to answer that, Dean Leslie?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's also a good question. If you can ask your professor to send that directly to the admissions.cpp email, so we can check it first, because usually the email should go directly to recommendations, but because it's coming from a non-official email, we would just need to kind of check it and verify it. If it's on letterhead and it's signed, I don't anticipate that will be an issue, but just ask him or her to please send it to us first so we can look at it. Again, using the email address I sent earlier, I'll just retype it because I think it's gone pretty far up now.
Thank you, Ms. Lana.
Sure.
Again, while we're waiting for more questions, let me just build on the example that Dr. Logan provided of the session that we had with Her Excellency Lulu Al-Qatar. That was in connection with the Doha Forum, which is an international, now in its 20th year, international policy forum that's hosted by the government of Qatar. So the college organized a panel in December of 2019 for the Doha Forum, which is usually held over a period of a week here in Doha. Obviously, it had to be done virtually this year, but in 2019, in December, we had an event on governance and resilience and global policymaking, which again was very well attended and received. And the event that Dr. Logan was referring to was it wasn't the release, but it was the launch, if you will, of the Doha Forum report, which is issued every year, which was done by a think tank in Washington, the Stimson Center. And so we're looking forward to working with Stimson over the coming year to help craft the next Doha Forum report for 2021. So that's an amazing opportunity for collaboration between the college, an American Washington-based think tank, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which is responsible for the Doha Forum. And here's another question. I've studied from school to bachelor degree in English, so do I need a TOEFL or other language test? Again, Ms. Lana, you're on the spot on that one.
You do not. If you would like to be exempt, then you would need to provide us with a letter from your university confirming that your studies were in English.
And another question, you can read that, Ms. Lana. I don't think I need to read it for you, but maybe just so that everybody else can hear it. My recommendations have been sent by 3 referees. Will it affect my application? And also my full name in the subject through the final application summary should only in my last and first name.
Sure, I can, yeah. No, 3 is, I mean, we say 2, but if you've sent an additional one, it's not going to hurt. For the name, it's fine. What shows in the confirmation email is not exactly what we see in our system, so don't worry. what you've submitted is what we're going to see. And if you have any further doubts or concerns, feel free to send us an email and we can reconfirm sort of from the back end what we're seeing. But whatever you entered into the online application will show for us.
And again, we have another question about recommendations. One recommendation may be late. Will that affect or hamper the application deadline? I think as long as your own application has been submitted, I think there's some flexibility in terms of the receipt of recommendation letters. Is that correct,
Yes,
Islana?
yes. We can be flexible. Again, if you're anticipating a delay, just send us an email and we will take a note of that.
And again, a similar question, when's the deadline for recommendation letters to be sent by international applicants?
So it was February 1, but again, if you anticipate a delay, you've already submitted your application, just send us an email, let us know, and we will take a note of that.
Again, while we're waiting for maybe a few more questions, let me elaborate a little bit on the research activities within the college. Last summer, in the summer of 2020, obviously the pandemic hit, and the National Research Fund here, National Research Funding Authority within Qatar, like many others around the world, pivoted very rapidly and released a call for rapid response for research around COVID. And there were over almost 240 research grant applications that were submitted in the early part of the summer last year. Only 23 were accepted, and I'm very happy to say that one of those 23 was by the college, and it was a unique application because it involved all of the existing faculty members in the college. I don't think any other college can say. At the time there were 4 of us, so but all 4 of us pitched in and supported the application, and were successful. And it resulted in a policy tracker project, the tracking of policy responses within a selected number of countries in the MENA region to COVID in 3 areas: economic response, and that was led by Dr. Özkan; the healthcare response; and the social policy responses. Health was led by Dr. Andreas, and the social policy responses by Dr. Anis. A web page is available, menatracker.org, and you can see the results. The project was wound up in August, September, but aspects of it have continued. So that was a remarkable and very quick initiative undertaken by faculty members in the college to produce. Again, it's a perfect illustration. Dr. Özkan has put it on the chats for you, the URL link. But that was a remarkable, I think, example of the kind of research that we want to do in this college. We want and encourage our students to do. It's rigorous, it's theoretically informed, but it responded obviously to a major public policy challenge. And we were, by tracking responses and trying to get a sense of how different governments in different places were tackling issues across these 3 broad areas of economic, social policy, and health, we're able to provide a database for governments thinking about what the appropriate responses might be, and build up some case studies around what appears to work and what was actually done on the ground by different governments across hundreds of different policy initiatives. So that's just one example. Dr. Özkan and Dr. Logan are working on a grant application, I believe, as well, on food security issues. I'm doing work on global policy summits. Dr. Andreas is leading our research program in environment and sustainability. Dr. Anis is running our research program on social policy. So again, even though the numbers of faculty are small, we're remarkably energetic and active across a host of different research areas. This was just a thank you. Okay. Oh, criteria for getting a scholarship. Well, hold on, there were a few that came in. Can a recommendation letter be sent from an employer, or should these be from previous teachers? There's a question about the criteria for getting a scholarship. Yeah, so those are 2 substantive questions.
I can take the admission one if you'd like. For the question about the recommendation letters, preferably from professors, but again, if you graduated a very long time ago, you're no longer in contact with faculty members at your university, you can provide letters from employers. But if you do have the opportunity, we would prefer to have at least one who can comment on your academic abilities. Then there's a question here. If you don't mind, Dean Leslie, I'll just take the next admission question. Then. Okay, so this question is, I got 6 in IELTS and I have all other requirements, including MA. Can I get scholarship? Unfortunately, we can't make any sort of, we can't really make any sort of accommodations for applicants who do not meet the minimum. So the minimum is 6.5 in IELTS or 79 in TOEFL. And that's an admission requirement. So applicants have to first apply for admission, and then those who are admitted will then be considered in a different review process for scholarship. And Dean Leslie, I think there was a question up there about what the criteria is for the scholarship application.
Sure. Perhaps I'll ask Dr. Özkan to briefly respond to that, since he's the chair of the admissions committee at the college.
Yeah. So as Ms. Lana said, for applications for admissions, those students who are admitted in the program, then they can apply for scholarship. So the 2 steps. In first step, students apply for admissions. Those who are admitted into program, they can apply for scholarship. And scholarship is allocated fully based in academic merit. And for international students, actually, we have, currently we have 7 international students, and last year we accepted 5. I think based on our budget, we are looking for 2-3 international students and will be funded. So, but it's mainly based on academic merit.
Which would be reflected in your grades, obviously, and in your letters of recommendation.
So there's another question here about English test scores. Will English test scores above the minimum affect the application positively? So if you've taken the TOEFL or IELTS and you have a score that's above the minimum that we've set, that's obviously a good thing. But I think just keep in mind that the whole admission review process is very holistic and is taking into consideration multiple factors. So if you have good English test scores, that's great, but you also need to have very strong grades. You need to have a very strong personal statement, a very compelling reason for why you want to do this program. So there are multiple factors. So I can't say it's like a cause and effect that a good score will significantly increase your chance. But definitely that is a positive thing, and good for you for getting a good score on the test. Should we submit the recommendation letters to? No, the recommendation letters need to be submitted to the recommendations email address, which is available on the website. I provided that just for the applicant who had an issue with their referee sending the email from a work or university email. So everybody else should be sending to this email. I'm going to type it in here, and it's also available on our website and on the form.
Yeah, there's a typo in the question in the email that's put in the question, so it's good to get the correct.
Yeah, I'm not actually able to type in here, so I'm just going to put it in the chat.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. I'm not able to submit it for some reason, but it is available on our website. It's recommendations@hbku.edu.qa.
Well, we've got a few more minutes. I think our intent is to wrap up around in the next 4 to 5 minutes. So if there are any other questions, please pose them in the next few minutes before we sign off. Let me talk a little bit while people are thinking about the online teaching that we've had to do, which we may have to do for the rest of this term. And then I'm hoping, inshallah, that we will be back in a classroom environment next fall. But obviously, like most of the universities around the world, we had to pivot very rapidly last March to put our classes online. And one of the things that we learned very quickly is that, of course, you can't simply take what you do in a regular classroom and just try to convert it into digital format. Teaching online is a very different kind of exercise. And of course, under pandemic and COVID circumstances, our students as well as our faculty were at home, often with their families and young children. And it was very difficult to balance all of that. So we did the best that we could to make accommodations and transform our teaching to be more suitable in an online environment. Again, the pressures that the students as well as the faculty are facing are quite substantial, but I think, again, we've been reasonably successful in ensuring that we maintain high quality and manage the workload that students and faculty have in terms of teaching on an online environment. And then we have some more questions. So if admitted, then when will the classes start? The term begins in August, in late August. I don't have the exact date of the commencement of classes. Maybe Miss Lana does, but it's usually the last week of August when classes begin for the fall term. And what is the last date for selection of applicants for? Oh, and I should add, I'm sorry for the previous question. When classes start, international students, for those international students who are coming, we usually require them to come a week before the commencement of classes. So that's closer to the beginning or the middle of August, so that they can settle in and do the paperwork and IDs and all the rest of it before classes actually begin in the last week. And then the other question is, what is the last date for selection of applicants for the program? The last date for the selection of applicants. I think that means on the part of the admissions committee. I think the admissions committee has already begun or will be beginning shortly to review applications. And it's an ongoing process through February and March, because the deadline, as Ms. Lana pointed out, for Qatar-based applications, the Qatari applications is mid-March. So we continue, their admissions committee continues through February and March, sifting through hundreds. I have to be clear about this. We get hundreds of applications. So as Ms. Lana pointed out, it's a very complex and holistic process to try to determine who the most qualified applicants are for a very small number of slots that we have. But people should be receiving admission notices in the next coming months as we move forward and as the committee moves through the different applications. Dr. Oskan, do you have anything to add to that? Have I represented that accurately?
Yeah, so from our side, the admissions committee, usually we make our final list towards end of March, but in the enrollment office, we'll be communicating with students about the final decisions. Probably it will be in April, Miss Lana? Yeah, in April.
During the month of April, yes.
Yeah.
There we go. I mean, the question was, I mean, for international applicants. So yeah, so that's the answer for that. Now we have a question about capstone. Will I have the freedom to choose projects independently after discussing with supervisors? I want to do that project in Bangladesh issue if selected for admission. The short, I mean, I can ask Dr. Logan to chime in, but the short answer is we have degrees of freedom, but not 100%, because we need to work with partner organizations that are supporting the capstone project. And typically, again, we're at the early days. We've just doing the first iteration of these this year, but ideally they would be locally based so that groups of students can work with that organization, again, and interact with them and help shape the project and the problem that they're tackling. So no, there is not complete freedom to choose any topic that you have in mind. We have to work out a system. Dr. Logan will be developing a series of mechanisms to bring together our partner organizations, the ones that have eligible projects, and share those among students to indicate their interest and their rankings, and then work out the coalescing of groups and then developing the agreements between the partner organizations and the groups. Okay, we've reached the end of our info session. We have one more question. After completion of master's, can I apply for a PhD? Of course, but at the moment, not in the college, because we don't have a PhD here at the College of Public Policy. That, as Dr. Özkan mentioned, is something that we are considering for the future. But at the moment, and for the foreseeable future, we won't be having a PhD here in the college. But I can assure you that the degree that you'll be receiving here in public policy will be internationally recognized, and I think would position anybody graduating from our program very well to pursue PhD studies. Will I learn negotiation skills from this program besides other skills as well? Every student has to negotiate with his or her professor, so that's something you learn almost by definition. But beyond that, yes, we do offer skills workshops. One that was taught by Dr. Logan actually in December on communicating with diverse audiences. And we are hoping to build a suite or a portfolio of short, intense, skill-based courses. And one of those is negotiation, because negotiation with your clients and with policy stakeholders is crucial. So yes, you will. Okay, we've reached the end of our info session. I hope it's been helpful to those in our audience. I'd like to thank the panelists and participants, Ms. Lan in particular, for helping us out on the admissions details, and Dr. Logan and Dr. Özkan, Ms. Aya, who handled the slides, and Mr. Ezzedine, who is the wizard behind managing the digital connections for the WebEx. If you have any questions that occur to you after this information session, please go to the relevant sources that we've cited. You can go to the admissions office. You can contact Dr. Özkan directly. I'm also available. Go to our website, and we're here to answer any of your questions. We certainly welcome your applications, and if you're successful, we look forward to working with you when you join us. So thank you very much, and thank you to everyone that participated. And
thank you.
Take care and keep safe. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good evening.